Okay, so this is the second session, the second one-shot recorded session. I'm having trouble streaming because mainly from the internet, it doesn't have a good upload speed. To be honest, it doesn't also have a good download speed, but the upload speed it's worse. So um, there's nothing I can do right now. So I'm going to be recording these sessions in one shot as if I was streaming. And then I'm just going to upload the session with this. This is the second session. The first one, I already made some adjustments, specifically with the music and a little bit with lighting. Let's see how this session goes. So yesterday's session, I liked it. I think there were some, we made some progress in some things that I have been wanting to do for some time now. And now we're going to do the things that were missing yesterday, some things that I noticed while we were developing. So for example, mainly on the routes. So there are some routes that I don't want to have as available to everyone, just to authenticated users. So it's mainly these ones. Well, mainly this one. I'm going to see how we are going to work on the other ones, okay? So let's go to let's start working on this. So let's work with these routes. So these routes, if I, for example, if I go to the main, to the website, to the app, and it's this one. So I'm going to log in, and the user, the test user is this one. I'm sorry. So it's. Sorry, why is it happening? Just a moment. Okay, so example.com and then authenticate. So let's see. Okay, so what are the things that I don't like? So for example, right now, so as you can see right now, I'm already logged in and I'm in the same URL as when I wasn't logged in, but I'm seeing a different screen. I understand why sometimes that is useful. Right now, I don't want it to work like this for our app, for this app. Why? Because I want the user to be able to look at the main page if they want to, and if they log in, let's send them to the app website. Okay, so let's change that. So that is being managed in, for example, we have the home controller. Okay, so let me open the home controller. So I'm going to close these files. If we need them, I'm going to open them again. Okay, so let's open the home controller. It's this one. So let's see. So in home controller, I'm looking for the index route. So let's go to the index route. And in here, if the user is not like the negative of this is authenticated. So if the user is not authenticated, we are going to show the landing page. Okay, and this page is the one that it's in the, where is this? So I'm going to go to, let's close everything, all of the folders, and collapse, not close. And let's go to resources, views, pages, and we have the landing page. Okay, so it's this one. And if the user is authenticated, we're going to run all of this code, this business logic, and we are going to show the home web page. That is this one that is in here. So let's work on this. So let's see what's the landing page. Okay, yes. So this is going to be the index, and we're just going to show that. So how can we do? So it doesn't matter if the user is logged in or not. We want to show this page. So I'm going to remove this. And let's delete this. And now I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste this in another route that is going to be the app route. Okay, so I'm going to do Control C just to copy everything. So I'm going to copy everything just to have it, and okay. So I'm going to delete those things. And this should work. So for example, now that the user is not logged in, it's showing this page. And also if the user is not logged in, it's showing this page. So now we have to show a way. We need to have a way for that when the user logs in, it's sent, or he's able to use the app. Okay, so let's do that. So now we need to have a button in here that sends the user that it's logged in to the app web page. So I'm going to, okay. So let's look at the navigation bar, and so where is this? So we have the main, we are using layout web. So if I open components, layout web, I can go to, we have the partials header. Okay, so the partials header, it's in partials header. And I can move that partials into this. So let's so I have layout, sidebar. So yes, I'm going to move this with everything partials and have it inside the components. So now I'm going to search everywhere where the partials header it's being used, and so for example, right now it is going to give me an error because it cannot find this file. So I'm just going to add it in here as components, partials header, and in this as well. So it's components, partials header. So now if I reload this, oh, so I forgot to add something in here. Let me turn on a power toy so that you can see easier the mouse. So okay, so I think it's if I remember correctly, no, so it's, I forgot. You stop using it for 1 week and you already forgot the commands. So let me open it. So how can I open this? Oh, okay, sorry. So it's Shift Windows H. Okay, so now you can, it's easier for, I think it's easier for the viewer to find out where my mouse is, or my cursor. So let's okay, so now if I reload this, I don't have the error anymore. But in this file, in the partials header file, so this is partials header. If the user is authenticated, if there's an out object and that is authenticated, it's true, there's something that we can show in here. If not, right now it's showing just these buttons. So I'm going to copy this, going to paste it in here, and I'm going to use in here, I can use a my account menu, but I'm going to add something like it can be something like go to dashboard, or just dashboard, or we can use it like generate content, something like this. Okay, this is the button primary, and we need to add a href button in here. Okay, so now we have this button. It's not taking us anywhere right now. We need to take the user to the page where the content it's going to be generated. So we need to work on that view. So if I go to that page, so we have the roots. Which controllers do we have? API controller, out controller, contents controller. So it can be the generated content controller. And this is the show. So I can create the index function in here. So I can paste in here this, like this. I'm going to remove this. I don't need it anymore. And so if I go to the home controller, I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to copy all of this. We don't need it in here anymore, but we are going to need it in here. So I have the example instruction. This one is already added, and the instruction model. Okay, so in here now we have different types of objects or functions that we are importing. So I'm going to change this to, for example, this is going to be the models. I can add it like this. And this is also going to be in here. And this is, so this is not types. These are types. And this is going to be framework, because it's being provided by Adonis, the framework that I'm using to make full web apps using JavaScript. Okay, so now so this is the index. Now we need to add this function to the rows. So let's go in here. So these routes that generate content, it's only going to be available if the user it's authenticated, and the content for that user, it's only going to be available for that user, for the owner. Okay, so I don't know if this route is being used. Let me see. So I think this root is not being used. So I'm going to delete it. Maybe, and always in the future we can add it again. Like we don't like, we need to be really careful with what we leave in our code, because if not, in the future there's going to be a lot of spaghetti code and you're not going to know anything, or you're going to have more issues or problems identifying what each line of code does. So this is, I like to do it like, I do analyze if the code is being used, and if I detect that it's not being used, I'm deleting it. Okay, so I'm going to delete it and I can always add it back again. So this, I do know that this one is being used. So for example, this get by UID. So let's look for this. So in this, yes, this one's the one that's being, oh, okay. So it's being, yes, I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this. We can always add it back later on. But if this was a web app that's already in production with users, this app still doesn't have users. You need to be more careful with this, because users can start getting issues with something that they were using. So you need to know when to do it and how to analyze your app to make sure that there's no problem with you deleting with some code. So now I'm going to move this to this group that's using that middleware authentication. So let's delete this and let's copy this. Okay, like this. So I'm going to add some comments. Okay. This also needs to be inside the, it's only available to guests. Okay. Okay. Okay, so these routes are managed. These routes are for manage user information routes. Okay, so I'm going to move this in here. Okay. So I need to move this to the out controller because it's making me it's not a standard way. It's not standardized to have some coding here and some coding here. So I'm going to start making some home cleaning. How do you say it? So I need to move this to that. I'm going to move it to the out controller. Okay, so out controller. So this is going to be the login, register, logout, manage. It should be this one. So, so I need to have this. Yes, I need to have this one, this inside this, because this is the manage URL. So this is the out controller for manage. This is not video root, so this is API generate content API roots. So this is going to be inside this, and this is just some housekeeping. I didn't remember the word some time before. So let's work on this. So now this, I need to have the out view like this. So I'm going to delete this. And why is it giving me, okay, what is this? Let's see what error it's going to give me this. So, okay, so I think if I go to slash manage, okay, so I think this is working. Yeah, so I'm in manage, so yes, this is working. So I don't know why it was giving me an error. So yes, this is correct. So now this is working. So yes, this is working. Okay. So now I have the roots in here. I mean, I can continue doing some housekeeping, moving roots from where they make more sense, but we just need to continue working on this. So actually, this wasn't what I was expecting to do right now. I was my focus was on something else. That it was that only authenticated users can create content, and they cannot. Only they, the owner of the content, can see it. So this was something additional that it popped up, and so I wanted to improve and fix the issues at the moment. I don't want to leave them for later on. So let's continue working on this. So now if I go to, okay, so how can I create an article? So as you saw, that sent me to the home because we still don't have the root to generate the content. So, so I need to, okay, so the generate content is this one and it's index. So we are going to call that index I don't want to call it generated content. I want to call it, I don't know, it can be app. Let's see how does it look with just app. So let's go to /app. So /app. And now we have the same screen that we were seeing on the index before. It can be app, it can be dashboard. I like to give it a name that it's the name of what the user is trying to accomplish. What's the success? Why is him or she in this website? Are they trying to generate an article or generate a video or manage their, I don't know, social accounts, or why are them in this view or page? So that's why I'm not completely sure about app. So it could be something like content or create. It can be create. Yes, I like create. So if I go in here, this doesn't work anymore, so I need to go to create. So now if I go to index, this button should send us to create. So what I can do, I think I can add in here name, and it's going to be generate content.index. Why is it giving me an error? Let's see. Okay, so it's telling me that it doesn't exist. So let's go in here. So let's see what's going in here. Name is not function. So let's ask a ChatGPT, not just ChatGPT, Cursor, the model that we're using, that is GPT-0. How do you give a name to root in Adonis JS 6. Let's see. We're using Adonis version 6, so let's be a little bit more explicit. That's what I'm doing here. So why it's not? So I don't know why it's not giving me. I don't know if I need to import it. So let's ask it. So why am I getting this error? So let's copy this error. Let's copy it and let's paste it. Okay, so you're not seeing what I'm looking at in here. So let me move my web camera. So okay. So I'm using router. Okay. So before we do this, I'm going to ask why are the advantages from using router instead of route. But let's go to the official documentation of Adonis just to see how they're doing it. So Adonis docs. Adonis 6 docs. So let's go in here and let's see. This is old school. This feels old school, but I like to do it like this sometimes because sometimes the AIs hallucinate. So let's go to basics routing. So it's using router. So if they're using router, I would rather follow this, what they're suggesting, than what the AI is doing in here. So let's see. If there's a way to add a name in here, so let's search in here name. So okay, so now there's a name middleware route identifier. Okay, so it's as, it's not name. So let's remove this, and I'm going to call this as, and this too as well. So let's save this. So let's go to that website, and now we are doing it. So let's go to the app, let's reload, and yes, if we go to /create, we are in here. So just give me 1 minute, I need to go someplace really fast. Sorry for that, I'm back. So, okay. So now, with that name that I added in here, I can now redirect to this name, and if I change this URL, it's still going to, and in my code I have this, we are still going to be getting into using this function inside this controller, okay? So now if I go to where this button is located, that generate content, that it's in the header. I'm going to delete this. We already have this in another place. And later I can add it back into here. So let's just move this to here, and in here I can add just like slash create, and it's going to work. If I go to index and I add in here, you can see that the link in the lower screen, it's telling us that it's going to send me to create. Yes, but I don't want to have it as hard-coded in here. There should be a better way to do it. So it can be, yes. So now we're using the root name. So this should also work if we reload this and we go to generate content. Look at the link, the URL that's appearing in the left side bottom corner, and it says /create. That's because it is detecting that this root, it's the root that it's called like this. So for example, if I change the name of this to index2, for example, and I go into here, it should give me an error. So yes, it's telling me that it cannot find the root with this name. Okay, so now if I change the name in here to index2, this should work. Yes. And it's sending me to the same URL. We just changed the name to /create. So this depends on how you want to manage your web app. I like to do it like this because it allows us to change the URLs, maybe, but we're always sending the user to the same function that we have. So that each button that is using that endpoint can access that function if we ever change that URL. Okay, so I'm going to go back to index in here and just index in here. So now if I change this to, I don't know, dashboard, and you are going to see that if I reload this, in the URL in the lower corner, it's telling us dashboard. Okay, so let's change this to create. And I also need to change this in here. When it says create article, I want to send the user to the to this web page as well. So that it's in the create article. So let's go to create article. So that's in the sidebar. And this is going to send us. Okay. So this is going to send us to the same place. So now if I click in here, it's sending me to this place. So what else do I need to do in here? Okay, if this is equals to this, so now this, since we are in this root, it's detecting that we are in this root, so it's telling us it's a visual cue for the user that they are in this tab of the sidebar of the app. Okay, so we are just telling the user that they are in this place. And the other thing that I want to do in here is that I don't want to show this button when the user is in here, because it's going to generate confusion. It's going to confuse the user that this button is going to create a content. No, the button is this one. Okay, so I'm going to delete, not delete, but just show this when they are in the in the in the web layout. Okay, so in here we have so I can move this sidebar to partials, but we're going to leave it like this. Where is the generate content? Okay, so we have the header, and this header is being used for the web layout, but also for the app layout. So we are going to change this. So I can start adding in here like how do you say, like conditional statements that if they are in the app layout, we should use this part of the code. If they are in the web layout, we should use this part of the code. To be honest, it starts to get a little bit not clean, like ugly. It starts to get ugly and I don't like it. So we're going to do something different. I'm going to copy this file, and I'm going to paste it in here. So now we are going to have an app header, and we are going to have a web header. Okay, so now we're going to have an error because we don't have just the header. So if I go to app, okay, so let's see every place where where header it's being used. So we have partials header, and this. So in the app layout, we are going to use the app header like this, and in the web layout, we are going to have the web header like this. So now in the create, we have our header, and in the index, in the home, we have our header as well. So now in the app header, that it's the one that it's this one, I can remove this from here. So I'm going to add just a comment to do nothing. Show nothing, like this. So now if I reload, you can see that the button is not appearing in here. So now there are different ways in which we can manage this. You can see that there are several elements that are being repeated in both headers, and we could abstract it more, like for example have this this part of the code as another file and just import it in both headers because it's the one that's being repeated. We could do it. I'm not going to do it right now because we only have 2 headers, so I don't think it's really that necessary. But in the future we could do it. Okay. And so now and there's another thing that's causing generating something that I don't want. It's this sidebar. I want to have the sidebar as a partial. So I just want to know where is the sidebar being used. So it's just being used in here. So I can move this sidebar to partials. I can delete this folder. And now we're going to have an error because I don't have that that file in the in the structure. But I can just change this to, instead of having sidebar, have partial sidebar. So now we reload, this is going to work, okay? So now we made all of these changes just for something that can be seen as pretty simple. And that is that if I copy this, and I go to an incognito page, look how it's telling the user to log in, because the user cannot see that page because they are not authenticated. Okay, so that we made all of these changes just so that the user can know that they need to log in when they are there. So for example, if I use user@example.com and I use the password, now I want to send the user to the where they can create the content. Okay, so let's work on this. So okay, so if I go to the so that's going to be after they log in. So if we go to the login, where's the login? So the roots, login, out controller login. So let's open the out controller. Let's go to login. So we have in here login and redirect. We want to redirect to slash. Okay, so to the root, generate content dot index. So why is it giving me an error? I don't know. Let's see if this gives me any error. So let's log out and now let's log in. So yes, so let's see why I wasn't root. Okay, so root is not defined. So it's telling me that the error is in line 53. So let's see. So okay, that's interesting. So I'm going to add this to GPT-4o. I need to have a name for this. So I'm going to call it AI sidebar. So how I can ask, how can I send the user to the generate content dot index named root after they log in. Let's see. Okay, sorry for that. So this is not the way to do it. I think this is the way to do it, to root. Let's see if this works. So let's log out. And now let's log in. And let's do login. Okay, so now it's sending me to this route. I just want to verify that this is the recommended way by Adonis. So let's see if it is mentioning here. So it's not mentioning here. Let's see if I can find it in here. To let's see. Okay, so it's telling me that it's a response object. So let's go to response. Let's see if by any chance it's in here. Okay, so yes, it's telling us that we can redirect use that to root method to send to redirect the user to that name root. So this is a name root. This is a name root when we're using this method, that .as method, and we're sending the user to. We're going to be sending the user to this controller with that function inside the controller. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to close this. And now I'm going to start committing some changes. So let's commit this. So let's see, let's commit it by groups, okay? So for example, I'm going to add everything related to the layouts in here. Okay, so I'm going to do something like improved layouts, it's partials and sidebar, something like this. And then so everything else, it's going to be added with the same commit group. So I want to do something like only authent users can see dashboard, create content, view, something like this. Okay, so let's sync the changes and let's close this. So now, what's happening in here? So the user, so for example, let's see which users have generated a content. So let's go inside the database. So let's use this database. So let's describe the generated contents. So what's so it's generated contents. Okay, so as you can see, all of the contents are being stored in the same table, and we have a user ID table. So that means that each content is assigned to one user. Okay, so if I go to the let's see how many users have a content. So let's select distinct user ID from generated contents. Okay, so all of these users, this was already, I think this was already how do you say, solved, so this shouldn't be happening anymore. I'm just going to delete it to make sure that it doesn't reappear. If it does reappear, we need to check it to make to investigate what's generating this issue. So let's see. So I'm going to count how many contents or articles doesn't have a user ID. So we're also doing some SQL in here. It's really easy, SQL. You just need to know the structure of the queries, and then it becomes really easy. So generated contents where user ID is null. Let's see. So that's 3 contents. So I'm going to delete those contents. So I'm going to generate to see which IDs are them. So then I'm going to delete from, and in here you have to have a lot of, you need to be really cautious, not delete, like if I just write this, generated like this, it's going to delete automatically without any warning that all of the content inside that table. So you need to be really, really careful when you are using delete or update or alter. So I usually, what I do is I don't write it like that. I write delete from, and then I skip the name of the table and I write where ID equals 6. So now that I know that which row or record I want to delete, now I'm going to write the name of the table. So now it just deleted 1 row. So now we can see that we only have the 7 and the 8. Okay, so let's delete the 7, and there are other ways to do it. So for example, in 7 or 8. So I deleted 2 rows. So now we don't have any content that doesn't have a user ID. Okay, so now getting back to what we were doing. So these are the users that have a content. So let's see which users are those. So let's describe user, describe users, and let's select ID. And okay, so I'm going to select full name. So these are just how do you say it? Seed users. So they were auto-generated just for the so that we can test the platform. Okay. So where ID in, so we need to add all of these user IDs: 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So from 11 to, so there are other ways to do this. I'm going to do it like this. There's no problem. So these are the users. So the user that I'm using, it's this one. Okay. So we're going to see the content for this user. So let's see. This is the user, and for example, if I go to this, I'm going to close the documentation. If I go to this content, it's from this user, from the user 16. It should be. So let's see. Select. So for example, in here, I can see that there are 45 items. Okay. So let's count. Select. So let's do. We can use a group in SQL. Let's do it. So how can we work with this using AI? So right now I have been using SQL in this session without AI. And if I open the AI, I cannot add a context from here. but I can ask things to the AI. So for example, let's ask it how to do this. So let's do group. So let's use give me the query to count the number of articles in the generated contents table. The number of articles by user ID. So let's see what is it going to give me. So yes, we are going to select the user ID and count everything as article count from this user and grouping by user ID. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to add it in here. Just paste it. And let's run it. Okay, so yes, you can see that the user 16, that is the one that we have in here, that we have been user, has 45 contents. That is this one, okay? So now let's see what's the content that has the user, the article that has the user 17, okay? So for example, right now, if I copy this URL, and if I go to an incognito tab that doesn't have a user, we cannot see that content because only the authenticated users can see the content, because that's the change that we made during this session. But the issue with this is that if you're authenticated, and I haven't, like, this is something that needs to be added as soon as the platform goes live. So that's why I haven't added. So for example, if I change in here let's select, so let's describe generated contents. So let's select ID, user ID, and UUID from generated contents. Okay. Sorry. Where user ID equals 17. So user ID like this. So if I copy this and I go to that content, I think I might be able to see it. Yes, because this article was generated by another user. You can see it in here. This is another user than this one. So it was generated by that user. And it shouldn't be this way. Like the chats or the content should be private for each of the users. Okay, so we need to work on this. So that's what we are going to work right now, and this is going to be the last thing that we are going to be doing on this session. So so there are different ways in which we can do this. I can go, so for example, I can go to this method, that is the show method, in the generated content controller. So it's the show method. Let's look for show. It's this one. Okay, so for example, in here I can do something like, so I can ask the AI how it will do it. this is auto-generated, so now this should work. We could add in here the out, and look how now we have a 404 page. But if we go to the UUID that this user is the owner of, you can see that we can see it. We can see that content, and it cannot see this content in here because we are telling them that this content doesn't exist. We don't want to tell the user that this content exists because there are ways in which hackers can find about how your app is working, and can find, for example, users or content, and then try to exploit those endpoints, those specific endpoints. So we're just going to tell them that this page doesn't exist. It's the same as if you were looking for something completely different, just a 404. Okay. So we can improve this view. We can center it. So let's center it. So we can do this in here. We can do it like this, and this should still work. This should still work, and this one, that is the good one, should still work. Okay. So now let's work on this 404. So let's go to, let's see how is this. So for example, if I try to do this in incognito, it's going to tell me to log in. Okay. So yes, that's the way that I want it to work. So let's go to the pages. Errors. So I just want to see something. So show. Where's pages? Errors not found. Okay, so yes, it's using the layout of app. We can use the layout of web. Let's see. I don't know which one I want. Maybe I want this one, the layout of web. And we're just going to center this. So I don't want to have a background in here. So let's search for the background. So yes, like this. I don't want it to have a shadow. I don't want to have anything like this, to be honest. I don't want this. I don't want this. Okay. Now I just want to center this. Flex so it's item center, and it's justify center as well. So it's not working. So let's see. So I need this to have a full width. So I'm going to add W full to this one. So now we have a 404 page not found. In go home, it's sending us in here. Okay, that's how I want it to look. Yes. And I can do the same in the server error. Okay, so I'm going to use this. Okay, so we're just going to use end. Okay. I don't know if this is end layout.web. I remember that we were working on this, but I don't remember if there was a way to do this. Let's see. Oh yes, so it's end layout.web. Yes, I like it like that. So now let's do the same for server. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm just going to add it in here. So I want to change 404 by 500, where this is a server error. A server error is different than a 404 error. So we need to have a different web view for those types of errors. So this is a server error. Oops, something went wrong on our end. Okay. So I'm just going to delete everything. And this should also work. So now let's save these pages. So I'm going to say something like improved error pages commit, and in here, so I'm just going to add like if user is not the owner of the article, of the content, show 404 error, like this. And let's sync the changes to the version control. Okay, so we still have the 45 items and everything's working. So that is everything that I wanted to do right now in this session. It was a shorter session than I expected to, but yes, that's going to be everything for this session, because if we go into the next things, it's going to take a lot of time. But thank you for being in this session. Thank you for seeing this video, and if there's anything that I can do for you, like help you with something, please let me know. Send me a message or leave me a comment if you want me to focus on something specifically. Thank you for being here, and see you later.